J.D. Vance did the rounds this weekend. I mean, I think the guy was anyone who had questioned why Donald Trump chose him, I think probably regretted that this weekend, watching him so ably disarm and go after all of these media hosts that frankly the Harris Walz team is ducking. But I want to just start based on your background with the charges of stolen valor against Tim Walz in his service. As someone who graduated from the Naval Academy, dealt with EOD, made the rank of captain, like, what do you think are the most damning issues when it comes to Tim Walz, or is this an overblown, as the media would put it, attacking his service?
No, there's a lot of things wrong. First of all, let's attack the media first. Okay. These guys were questioning me because I said, hey, I'm running against the other Tim from Minnesota, Tim Kaine, also a failed governor and also a failed VP candidate. And I said, Tim Kaine and I got the same paycheck from the American people for 30 years, except he's a millionaire and I have scars. So then the left-wing media came out and said, well, where are your scars? How come you have a Purple Heart? I'm like, hold on. Are you saying that the millions of 100% disabled veterans out there who don't have a Purple Heart are lying about it? They wanted me, get this, Sean, they wanted me to list every single instance I was outside the wire and list all the times I received fire and what the results were. And they did that, and I've been in politics for a minute, and Tim Walz has been in it for 20 years, and no one's fact-checked this stuff.
Don't you? Wait, that's, I'm so glad you just brought this up. They question your injuries from a lifetime of service, okay? I mean, what was it, 25, 26 years you served?
25 years, yes, sir.
Okay, 25 years on active duty. And they basically are saying, show us your scars, Captain Hung. And for Tim Walz, it's, how dare you attack his service?
No, you're absolutely right. And this guy, first of all, on his coin, his congressional coin, he has a Command Sergeant Major insignia, right? He said he was a Command Sergeant Major. I don't go around saying I'm a Navy SEAL. Everybody, times people hear, oh, special operations, they think I'm a SEAL. I'm like, hold on, I'm a Navy deep sea diver. I'm an EOD tech. That's all it is. And I don't embellish it. I don't call myself an admiral. I'm not an admiral. I was nowhere near being an admiral. So, this is a blatant lie. And then to leave
Captain, can you just stop for a second? Just for people out there that haven't served in the military, explain what you're talking. Like, he has a coin, right, that he gave out to as a member of Congress that says Command Sergeant Major. I think we can show a picture of it on the screen. What's the big deal? Let me just walk you through the media narrative on this, and you tell me how this is wrong. Well, he achieved the rank of Command Sergeant Major, and he put Command Sergeant Major on this challenge coin that he handed out to constituents. What's the problem with that?
Well, the fact is he never was a Command Sergeant Major. He was in the acting role. He didn't complete what was required to be a Command Sergeant Major, or much even a Sergeant Major, right? I mean, you and I were in the Navy. There's a difference between a Master Chief and Command Master Chief. There's two different things. And one is a position of higher responsibility. And he was never that. He retired as Master Sergeant, and he knows it because his paychecks come in every month, and it shows that. But he lied about it.
That's how you know everything. How you got paid,
Yes. And then I think the most damning thing is probably his former battalion commander, who said, you know what, I was glad for him to be gone because the unit was better off without him than they were with him. Because remember, for an enlisted guy to retire, they still have to get the commanding officer's signature. And I was like asking myself, what commanding officer would sign off on the retirement of a senior enlisted leader before a deployment? Well, it turns out they were better off without him than they were with him. And honestly, America's going to be better off without him than they are with him.
Do you think this is an issue that I've been asked by a lot of people who haven't served, right? Less than 1% of the American public has some connection to the military now. So for a lot of people, they're I don't know, probably kind of in bewilderment, thinking, I don't really understand what the big deal is. This guy served 24 years, and it sounds like you guys are fighting over a bureaucratic technicality.
Well, let me ask you this. If he's lying about this, what else is he lying about? That's like me saying, I was the governor of Virginia. No, I wasn't. I was nowhere near that. That's, it's so preposterous. So yeah, if he's lying about this, what else is he lying about?
So when you go around right now, Virginia, and you're talking to folks, how big of an issue is your military service?
It is a big issue because, again, Tim Kaine and I had the same paycheck for 30 years, and all he has is millions to show for it, and I have scars. I mean, I'm asking you, who fought for our country? Who did what we were supposed to do? The guy's running around the state right now on the taxpayer's dollar, trying to play a harmonica to remind people he's still alive and he's still pertinent. But the thing is, no one remembers what he's done for Virginia, except for the fact that he got stuck on I-95 during a snowstorm with a bottle of Dr. Pepper, and that's it.
So I want to play you a video. Tim Walz was on C-SPAN when he was a member of Congress. And I want you to help analyze this video because I think for a lot of people, there's a lot wrong with it. But let me just show you the video and kind of ask you to comment and analyze. Take a look.
Congressman Tim Walz, also a member of the Armed Services Committee and Veterans Affairs, Democrat of Minnesota, highest ranking enlisted soldier ever to serve in Congress, enlisted in the Army National Guard at 17 and retired 24 years later as Command Sergeant Major and served with his battalion at Operating Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. And I read that because I want to preface our discussion.
All right, so that's the bio. Presumably, I've been on C-SPAN before. They don't just make that up. Someone gives them the bio. He nods his head along as those achievements go along. What would be the problem with what he just said or acknowledged?
He acknowledged everything. I mean, I like I said, and someone calls me a SEAL. I'm like, hold on, I'm not a Navy SEAL. It's a point of honor for us. But for me, the biggest thing is he left his unit behind. For example, one of my deployments, I was the first one in with the advanced team, the ADVON, and then we were pulling out of Iraq. So I stayed behind because I didn't want to leave my men behind. I sent 215 people back. I stayed there with the last 10 guys to retrograde everything. It's a leader's prerogative. It's a leader's thing to stay behind with your people. You don't eat, sleep, sit down, rest, or relax until your men have had a chance to do so themselves. So you don't go home before your men go do that. But for him, he never even went over there.
And so when she's saying in Afghanistan and he's nodding along, if that was you and that introduction and that bio was played, what would you have done?
I was like, no. I was never in Afghanistan. I was actually in Italy because, I had to go to Italy so the Hung could deploy to Pakistan at the time. That's what happened. I was actually stationed in Italy and then I had to deploy to Pakistan, whereas he deployed to Italy, which, hey, that's an honorable thing. You're still serving, but don't say you were in Afghanistan. You supported operations in Afghanistan from Italy, but you were not there.
Well, and that's the thing that the media is not getting. No one's denigrating his service. He served for 24 years. God bless him for doing it. He enlisted at 17 years old. That's the backbone of the all-volunteer force. But to say that you did something that you didn't do or earn something that you didn't do or go to Afghanistan if you didn't is not something that you should take credit for, right? That's the issue.
No, that is the issue. And like I said, if he's lying about that, what else is he lying to us about?
Right. So the thing, I loved your speech at the convention, and it echoes a lot of the messaging that you've done on your campaign. You talk about your family fleeing communist Vietnam. Walk us through a little bit about why that's such an important part of your campaign theme.
Because, right now, the biggest problem in our country is the border, the southern border. We have millions of illegal aliens coming across the border, including tens of thousands of military-age males. And look, my thing is, don't ask for the American dream if you're not willing to obey the American laws and embrace the American culture. Because I did. I love this country so much. I put my life on the line to defend it every single day for 25 years.
But don't you think that beyond just the border and the laws, I think that the communist undertones that we're seeing, the idea that we're drifting away from these principles that make America great, of capitalism and freedom. They love to embrace the word freedom on the left, and then at the same time stifle that very freedom that they love to embrace.
No, you're absolutely right.
It's not just a Beyonce song.
No, I mean, Tim Walz was actually questioning the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. He's like, well, you shouldn't be able to say whatever you want. Well, I'm sorry, but that's what freedom of speech is. You can say the most preposterous thing, and I might not like it. I hate it when people burn the American flag, but you know what? It means that you and I did our job because they still have that right to do so. It hurts me to the core when I watch the American flag being burned, but it says that we did our job because they still have the right to do stupid things.
That's the thing that's so funny about us on the right. Right? I agree with you. It's sort of like my job as an American is to do what I can to protect the right of others to express themselves, no matter how much I hate it. In fact, real constitutional scholars will talk about the fact that the real goal of the First Amendment is to protect speech that you hate, that you despise. And yet here they are, these folks that love to embrace the word freedom and democracy and shut down anything that doesn't conform to what they want, anything that can microaggression hurt them or trigger them.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they're turning this country into what I ran away from. And this is why we're going to win Virginia, because Northern Virginia is full of immigrants. People who came here for the same opportunities I did, for God, family, and country. And they're seeing this bastardization of what freedom is and turn it into communist state. And that's why when I ran for Congress in 2022, I was able to move Northern Virginia 13%, where Joe Biden won by 19 points. I lost by 6.
Wow.
And then if the South comes out, then we've already won this race. And Tim.
So when Tim Walz says something like one person's socialism is another person's neighborliness, how do you make sense of that?
Oh my gosh. I mean, again, this is the same guy who's got a snitch line, right? Snitch lines where you can call on your neighbors, say, hey, I saw them hugging somebody without a mask. And remember, Mao did this. Mao basically had the kids snitch on their parents. So don't forget that Tim Walz also wants Minnesota to be a sanctuary state for kids who want sex changes without telling their parents. This is exactly don't believe what they say out there, believe what they do.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.